right, welcome back to the Great Northeast BJJ podcast, my man. How you doing?
Good, man. Doing well.
It's been a while.
Yep.
I think I met you 3 years ago in Oklahoma, man.
Oklahoma, right? At the fights.
Yeah.
That was a UFC or Bellator fight?
It's UFC.
UFC, right?
I forget the guy's name. You were there, corner, and was fighting Clay Guida. Cock.
Oh, Eric Koch.
Eric Koch.
Yeah, yep.
Koch.
That was North Carolina, right? I think so.
No, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City.
Yeah, you're right. Right?
I mean, it was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
There's a lot of stuff gone on since then. Now we're in quarantine.
Yeah. I remember we talked so much about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So how's everything going in Milwaukee? Are you in Milwaukee?
Yeah, I'm in Milwaukee right now. A little town close to Milwaukee called Wauwatosa. 10 minutes away from the gym. Everything's doing good here. Looks like people really respecting the situation right now. Everybody's staying home. Unfortunately, we're not training. I'm glad to have my son here. He's 18, and he's as tough as nails too. So I can keep rolling with him. We're in a quarantine at home, but I have this 12 by 12 mats at my living room, so me and my son can just rock and roll.
Nice.
But
how's he doing, man? How's he? I know is he a blue belt?
Yeah, he's still blue belt. Waiting for some tournaments this year. Probably by the end of the year, if everything get back to normal, he'll probably be moving up soon.
But he's fighting MMA, right?
Yeah, 2 solid years in jiu-jitsu as a blue belt, and he just had his amateur MMA debut.
That's awesome, man.
How
old?
Via armbar. So represent the jiu-jitsu community.
How old is he?
He's 18. He just turned 18 in January. Gabriel Wanderley. I'm using his account right now here.
Represent.
Yep.
Is he training over at Duke Rufus?
Yeah, he trains at Roufusport. Here we go, right here. Rocking Roufusport hoodie. Gabriel been training jiu-jitsu with me since he was 8-year-old, and he started striking at Roufusport with Duke. And when he was 13, it's been a while already. He's been training for a long time. So
he's got a pretty good group of humans to train with, huh?
Yeah. I can call him a lucky kid because he's been training with the pro fighters for the last couple of years since he was 16. In jiu-jitsu, he used to see those guys come in class and roll them, but he started taking the fight team. We have an amateur fight team and we have a pro fight team, and most of the pros guys really like to train with him. So Duke opened up the doors, and he can train with the pro, so it's pretty nice. One of his best training partners, Sergio Pettis, Manuel Sanchez. He trained with a lot of good fighters.
Did he when he started jiu-jitsu, did he start because he wanted to, or did you kind of push him into it?
Actually, that's a good question. Gabriel started jiu-jitsu when I first moved to America, so he started jiu-jitsu in Brazil. I wasn't there. He just started this jiu-jitsu program in the church, right? Really by 3 blocks away from my house. Dude was purple belt, very nice guy out there. And he just wanted to start jiu-jitsu. So he was looking at me doing jiu-jitsu for a few years. And I come to Chicago to visit my mom. My mom moved to Chicago when Gabriel was really little. And I come to see my mom. And Gabriel started jiu-jitsu. I was like, damn. And then,
was he back in Recife?
He's here. Actually,
it
was back in Recife. Yeah, back in 2000. When did I come in here? 2005. Yeah.
So when your mom moved here, is that when you could? So you and I have talked about this before. You came here and lived with Carlson, right?
Yeah. I have this great opportunity. So when my mom moved to Chicago, I came to see my mom 3 or 4 years later, and Carlson was teaching in Chicago. That was pretty, small world. My coach Gutenberg, my professor, who who I'm under from my white to the black belt. He used to train with Carson back in the days. For many years. He's a black belt man for almost 40 years. He's an old school Carson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu guy, and he just told me, recommend to come and try to see Carson and train with him, to have the opportunity to learn from the man himself. So I think we talked about that last time. It was pretty good memories.
To be honest, man, I'll talk about that forever because it's so. Everybody. I've met a lot of people who've trained under Carlson, and come up they're all super tough.
Yeah.
And then everybody always speaks about Carlson with such reverence,
Yeah. That's how that was in 2005. I come to see my mom. I finally find the academy. I came in. I met Carson in person. I was so happy. I trained the next day. I didn't train on the first night that I met him. He allowed me to come next day. So I started training with him, and he was training Stefan. It was just 15 years ago. Stefan against Forrest Griffin, the big fight. I think was the finals. I'm sure it was the finals at the Ultimate Fighter #1. When Diego Sanchez won I think it was 100. It was a 55 or 170.
I think it was 170 because Kenny Florian, I think, was in it, but he was fighting a bunch of dudes.
He was the champion, and Forrest Griffin won the championship, but also Stefan got the contract, remember? Yeah. Because at that time was only one contract for the winner. So things being changed a lot.
I feel like it changed the whole history of the UFC, that fight.
Yeah. So Carlson was training Stefan, and then jiu-jitsu on the ground game, and Duke Roof was coming all the way from Milwaukee to train Stefan in the striking side. That's when I met Duke. At that time, I couldn't barely communicate in English, so I met Duke. I didn't know who Duke was, in the past. And small world, man. He was looking for a guy like me, from the same lineage, because he remember I was part of the fight camp, but I didn't fight MMA. I was just part of the camp training, happy to be there and see all those guys. Back in the days, Miguel Torres, I don't know if you guys remember the Angel.
From Miguel the WEC, right?
Yeah, he used to be part of our team as well. It was a good time. I remember me cornering Miguel in the small show in Indiana when, who's the other guy? Jeff Curran as well. He used to fight in the same local shows. Yeah. Long time ago, way before the WC. And that was great, man. See Carson, he was old, but he was teaching every day, every morning. The MMA class was twice a week, if I'm not wrong, and jiu-jitsu Monday to Saturday. The man, the passion was there. 72-year-old and still putting the gi on and go there, teach every move with a lot of with love, So I remember those days. Was memories that I'm gonna, keep in my.
Did Carlson ever learn English?
Very broke English. Most of the Brazilians have a really hard time. I have a strong accent, being improved a lot. But the thing is, if you have a chance to go to school to learn English, the properly, everything, with the you're supposed to do is much easy. But when we got to work, taking care of the family, and then also when you're older, it makes it a little harder. I remember my mom when she, first moved here, she was already an old lady. So it's very hard to learn another language. My little one, my 5-year-old, just speak fluent Portuguese and English. It's pretty good, pretty dope.
Oh yeah. What do you think was the most important thing Carlson gave to, for people that don't, because I feel like there's generations that already don't really know about the old guys like Carlson. What did he do? What was his gift?
Carlson, I heard that from a lot of the top coaches or fighters, even seen Hickson talk about him. Any of the other Gracie, Hanson Gracie, he's a good friend of mine. I really love Hanson. He's the dude that I'm looking up a lot because he's the happy dude. He's pretty tough. He's an older man, but he had a great MMA career. and now he's coaching and just having fun and making life a lot more fun. But I used to hear from people like him, talking about how Carlson was so important for MMA, not just for jiu-jitsu. If I'm not wrong, Carlson was the first Gracie who fought without the kimono. He took the kimono out and he fought MMA when he had to save the family. A lot of people don't know, but back in the days, a lot of people know too, was a student of Helio Gracie. His name is Valdemar Santana. He's a black guy, very strong, very athletic, that he became the Creonte, and he challenged Helio. But at that time, Helio was already older. I'm 40 right now. I'm feeling, things start changing. You don't have the same energy. You don't have the same quick recover. So at that time, the Gracie family didn't have a lot of other mans, you know what I mean? So Carlson has to step up. I believe he was 17-year-old. He actually, in the law, he couldn't fight. Somebody actually faking an idea for him or a document that was saying he was 18, he was able to fight, and he went there and represent the Gracie family. I think that was the most, the moment that people will never forget. Is like he went there, he beat Valdemar. He saved the honor of the Gracie family at that day, I believe, and I think all the Gracies are very grateful for Carlson, because he represented at the time that they didn't have many people to step in and try to fight. The next generation was different, and all those, like jiu-jitsu gangsters, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, Hicks and Hoist, Half, Hansen, and that was the next generation that really put jiu-jitsu out there. And that when Carlson created his students and went against the family, you can see a lot of fights, like Waleed Ismail, who's a really good friend of mine too. Is a Carlson Gracie, old school, tough dude. He's scary looking guy. I was with him another day when his boy beat the Joseph Benavidez at the UFC in what was the last UFC? I was actually 2 ago when Figueroa fought for the title, but he missed the title because he missed weight. So he fought Joseph Benavidez. I was there with the scary Waleed. I actually had the opportunity to roll Waleed. Nice. Last year, when Figueroa fought Formiga, Anthony Pettis fought Wonderboy in the same fight week. And I was there. He invited me to roll. He messaged me like, "Hey man, you want to roll today?" Man, it was a good time, learning and rolling with the old school guy that I'm being a fan for a long time,
Legend.
He's a legend. Rivalry in Brazil in between luta livre and jiu-jitsu back in the days. And Waleed stepped in as a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I remember he was the only brown belt who represented jiu-jitsu that night, and he did very well. He beat what's the guy's name? Scary dude too. He fought Hanson as well. What's his name from luta livre? I will remember in a little bit. It's so many names.
Wasn't he the one that clock choked Hoist?
Exactly, in 5 minutes. Right after Hoist became the UFC champion, I think was in the first, if I'm not wrong, the second time. They make a challenge, so Hoist just choose the rules. Would be a jiu-jitsu match, not an MMA match. Waleed was open for anything, and that's what Carlson turned. Like Carlson just thought that jiu-jitsu was so good for everyone who would help people in the world that he wants to share jiu-jitsu with everybody. The Japanese was trying to keep that private before. So one Japanese taught Carlos, and Carlos taught the family. So they want to keep that just for the family. And Carlson thought that he was just like that. That's not fair. I think jiu-jitsu will help a lot of people all over the world. So we got to spread that, jiu-jitsu vibes, jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And that's when the family started, turning back to Carlson and like try to like, no, this is before used to be a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, that. Now it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so it's very popular for the sport Jiu-Jitsu. And also they change a little bit the rules. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is a self-defense fighting, it's a combat fighting art. It's not just Jiu-Jitsu, it's not grappling. And the sport Jiu-Jitsu become very popular. which is like, makes sense because everybody can do jiu-jitsu now. It's not like old school. Are you tough? Or if you're not tough, you can't do jiu-jitsu because people's going to try to smash you and beat you up. That's how I learned back in the day. Small gym with a lot of tough people.
Wasn't it the old academy in Rio? Was it like Carlson taught on certain days and on the other days like Holz taught?
They have 2 floors. I actually was very grateful to go to be able to visit the headquarters in Brazil, and it's just different now. It's a little different, but they used to have 2 floors, and I believe it was Monday, Wednesdays Carlson was teaching, and Tuesday and Thursday was Hoyles, which I heard from Carlson. When I used to live with Carlson, it was one of the toughest graces that, one of the best ones in the family. He unfortunately passed. He passed away. Carlson was talking pretty highly about him.
I mean, everybody, I feel like people say like Holz was the guy who brought the other like wrestling and other stuff into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. My teacher Gutenberg used to talk pretty good about him too. Unfortunately, I couldn't see not much, even like on the internet, you don't see many fights. But people still respect him as one of the best of the whole family, the whole time, he just couldn't prove that.
So you got your black belt from Carlson, right?
Gutenberg.
Oh, Gutenberg Mello.
Yeah. Because when I first came to Chicago, I was a brown belt. And that was like very right before Carlson passed. I was living with Carlson. I had the opportunity to go there and train. And my mom used to work for a cable company who sometimes got to send people to work in different towns. And fortunately, we got the notice that we got to move. I was like with my mom, leaving with her. And Carlson asked me to stay. I said, yeah, I'm going to stay here. What I'm going to do for leaving, where I'm going to leave. And like, dude, just stay with me in my apartment. And I felt like, man, you sure? And my mom, nah, don't do that. It's not going to happen. You can come back later. Let's get the job done out there. In a couple of months, we'll come back. Something like that. I'm like, no, Mom. And like, this is the opportunity that I have been looking for a long time. I never thought about to becoming a fighter, like a professional MMA fighter, but just living the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, be able to learn how to teach. I was a brown belt. I used to teach back in Brazil. I have a lot of people who learned from me in the past, and they now are black belts under my teacher, and they never forget the good times, the old and good times that I used to be teaching out there. They're very proud of me when they see me on TV, in UFC or Bellator, especially when somebody mentioned my name, like another, a few times. Big John McCartney was talk about me very high, like, oh, you can tell this guy trained with Daniel Wanderley, like, dude, it's like, I'm a big fan of Big John. First time I see Big John, I was like, oh man, can I have a picture with you? So now, it's kind of normal to see him, become a good friend, and always make sure. I remember another day, one of my students fought in Chicago, first fight, Bellator, sometime giving you an opportunity to be, to do your pro debut, the preliminaries. And I was there, and then I saw the commentaries, later. It's like, yeah, you can tell this kid trained with Daniel Wanderley. I was like, my kid won by armbar. I was like, yeah, if Big John talk about you, if he mention your name, you are somebody in the fight world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but happy to be, seeing the evolution of the sport, how it used to be back in the days when the Gracie first started. I was training with my son today. I was telling him how Horion used to set up arm bars back in the day, just with the hand on the chest. How he used to pass the guard with the kind of like the reap choke, holding your neck and stick the hand behind the back to break your guard. You can't do that now because, you're going to get triangle choke. People didn't know that triangle choke in the past.
Dude, it's evolved so much. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. You see, like, my son's a blue belt, dude, but all he's been doing here, like, he hooked the shit out of me. And I'm like, damn, I'm just I'm old school. I like the IBJJF rules a lot, but I really do competition. I did so much grappling competitions, and I fought 5 times as a pro in MMA too. So when you're at that level, even when we train the gi, so he go for heel hooks, so I'll never complain about try to get out, or try to or tap and just go start over again. It's not a big deal. I think that's Hickson actually mentioned that if you don't tap, you don't learn, you know, so you don't want to get tapped. It's like a medicine. People don't like to take a medicine, but makes you better.
It is. That's 100% true, man. You got to take your medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much it's evolved, I guess, and it's really, it seems like a long time maybe, but it's really not that. It's 20 years.
Yeah. It just grows so much and fast. Like I was telling friends in Brazil, I said, dude, jiu-jitsu is so big in America that I believe in the next 5 years it's just gonna pass Brazil. Like I believe it. You know, it's not the fact that it's like people just fall in love with the sport and they dedicate so much. You see that this new generation, you know. Last year I got Gordon Ryan here at Roufusport for a seminar. I met him before through a friend of mine, Uriah Faber, and his friend, his coach, jiu-jitsu coach, Fabio Prado. So we have the opportunity to train a little bit together. I was a little injured, actually. I escaped. I told him I'm going to escape from my ass whoop today. But I couldn't do much, you know. Like if you're not healthy to train, so it's not worth, you know, as much you want to train with the best guy. And when he came in, actually, it was the opposite. I was ready to train, but he had the knee surgery, in which I was worried about the seminar, and it was a great seminar, you know. But you see his brother, his young brother, he's a beast, man. I remember that kid as a blue belt, tapping black belt already. Like my son, I see my son, I go to different places. I go back to Brazil, I train in different academies. I see my son catching black belts like that. I couldn't catch him. I was rolling with that guys before, tough rounds, and, you know, those kids are so sleek, so much faster, so all this new scramble, you know what I mean, that it's just the sports involved and never stops, so we have to follow, you know. And MMA is the same, being improving so much in the last 7 years. I've been coaching at a professional level and UFC level for 7 years right now, and man, it's just like, it's different, you know. It's not the sport jiu-jitsu, you know. Right. That's what Duke brought me in. He used to see how you train for MMA and how we train for jiu-jitsu. He knows how important it is to be able to hit people before go for submission. It's funny that Roufusport is well known by striking, and most of our top fighters, it's very high. They have more submission than the knockouts. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
If you go in the numbers and you look at the records, you're gonna be like, oh my god. But why? They hit then, they hurt then, and then boom, submit them. You know, like that's the what I think it makes so much easier to use your jiu-jitsu. You know, the same way that people say, oh, when you fight jiu-jitsu guy, you punch him in the face, he turn a brown belt. You punch him in the face, turn a purple belt. So you demote the guy by hit him. I believe in that. That's what I teach my guys. But don't forget that a good white belt can still break your heart. Yeah. So it go both ways, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, passing guard is a lot easier when you're punching somebody.
There you go.
I mean, not to say any of it's easy, because
taking a good example, you know, being trained with Anthony for so long, and the higher level when you fight guys like Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson, sometimes you need to bring in the guys to give you that look. And we have a really good friend that, you know, who's a really good jiu-jitsu guy that trains in different gym, but we, you know, invite him to come in to help in the camp. You know, Anthony actually pay him to roll and spar with him and do stuff like properly for the fight. And when he first came into the gym, like, dude, this kid's a beast, you know. But he was doing that jiu-jitsu, sport jiu-jitsu, and I was like, man, you're amazing, but now let's do this. Let my guy just touch you. Every time he had opportunity to touch you, he's going to tag you. He's not going to hurt you, okay? Okay, boom. Round one start. In less than a minute, Anthony caught him in an armbar. But it wasn't an armbar, jiu-jitsu armbar. It was like hanging bam, 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 pass, and an armbar that he didn't expect. You're like, holy shit, it's so much different. You won't see guys like, you know, I'm not trashing anybody, but I'm going to mention a big name like the Meows brothers. They are amazing. But if they fight like that in an MMA fight, man, they're going to get their ass whooped. You know, like the you know, the spinning things, like when you don't know how to avoid the ground and pound. That's danger, man. That's when you see guys with no jiu-jitsu background beat jiu-jitsu guys, because the guys try to play the sport jiu-jitsu in MMA fights. And that's not going to happen, you know. Like, I don't believe anybody can do what Hoist did back in the days now.
Well,
because
everybody's seen it now, you know. I will say, like, I'm super impressed with how Ryan Hall has brought like his jiu-jitsu game
oh
into
man, I love that kid, dude.
He's amazing, right?
I remember him. Pan Am's 2007. I went to a camp in California, and Marcelo Garcia was there. Andre Galvan was there. Andre Galvan was having a private lesson with him. He was purple belt, and they were, you know, that kind of
With Marcelo?
that yeah. Oh no, with the Galvan. Ryan Hall was having a private with Galvan, and dude, that was a camp, like 40 some tough motherfuckers in the mat. And then I look at, they was doing a private, and finally they start rolling. And, you know, not talking much, but I saw that kid rolling like a monster with Andre Galvan. Like, and the size was so much different. Technique level, purple belt against a black belt. And I was like, man, this kid's going to be the next thing, you know. Like, I remember sitting and watching. I was like, holy shit, he's really good. I like him.
Yeah, he's amazing. And he's like, I feel like he does stuff in MMA with jiu-jitsu that you're like, ooh, I don't know if you want to do that, but he makes
I remember watching him in the IBJJF, all those like grappling tournaments. And also, if you look it up, his last fight, he actually beat that dude up on the feet.
His striking is getting getting good for sure.
I don't know what's going on with him that he doesn't fight very often, but he's really good.
I heard that he has a hard time getting people don't want to fight him.
Yep, you're right, because he hurt people with heel hooks. He's a small version of Palhares.
Right. But I
remember Palhares?
Oh yeah, man, he's one of the scare. I mean, I think one of the greatest jiu-jitsu matches of all time was Gary Tonin versus him.
I agree with you. That was a good one. I have a good one to talk about him. Remember when he fought John Fitch? He fought John Fitch at the World Series of fighting. So when he became the champion, I believe he was a champion there, right? Yeah. Is it?
I don't know.
No, I think it was just a fight. There was the Coleman event. I was with the kid out there who fought Lance Palmer, Ricky Glenn, one of our students from Roufusport. He was the champion. Actually, he lost the title that night. We're in the locker room, dude. Paula Harris was the Coleman event. We were in the main event. And Paula Harris was sharing the locker room with us, and he started warming up for his fight. Oh, my God. I look at him doing the things with his I don't think it was a coach or his training partner. Dude, he was hurt, that guy. Leg locks from everywhere, from back position, from double leg, from single leg, whatever, whatever position he had, he would go for leg lock from there. That was a seminar. I remember I was telling Duke, I was like, dude, I'm fucking recording everything in my mind. But I felt bad because by the time to walk out, I don't know if it was a real coach. It wasn't jiu-jitsu coach, I believe, but it was the guy from Nogueira's team. And dude, it was hurt, man. He couldn't fight, and he was like limping a little bit. And he knee bar Fitch like quick, bro. He finished him like quick. We lost that match. It was a good experience to be in the locker room with someone like Palhares. And I don't believe he's a bad guy. He really holds position to break people's leg. I believe he just is very humble. And sometimes he just is that guy. He doesn't understand much English. So when the ref calls something, he just want to hold and make sure he wins. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't like to judge people. I like his style because I'm a leg locker too. I love leg locks. And when he fought that he hold the Kimura, very good grappler too, from Diaz team. The American Jiu-Jitsu guy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He fought Maya.
Jake Shields.
Yeah, Jake Shields. Yeah, very nice guy actually. Right. When he fought him, people was complaining about, he hold Jake Shields' arm. But dude, you fight. You told me you're gonna break my arm before the fight. That's what Jake Shields told him in the interview. He's like, man, if I had a chance, I would break his arm because he's a bad guy. Blah blah blah. So I got your arm. I had a chance to break your arm because he holding that Kimura. He never cranked that Kimura. And then people complain about him. The same arm that Palhares had it, so he punched Palhares in the face right after he let go with the same arm. If your arm was hurt, bro, you could. Right. I have good memories, so I travel so much with so many fights, and sometimes I got the flashbacks things from long time ago, and I'm like, oh, I saw that with my eyes. So don't Don't tell me.
Yeah,
it's true. If you see, it's true. But yeah.
When Gary Tonin, that match, I remember before that match, I was like, oh my God, this is like so frightening. And it was such an exciting, and I mean, actually, Gary Tonin's had a couple of my favorite grappling matches, I guess.
I love him, dude. I'm a big fan of him. Where he's doing one FC right now. Ooh, he's just killing people.
I would love to see him. I mean, man, it'd be great to see him fight Kron in MMA, or even Ryan Hall would be an amazing fight, right?
Yeah.
So
just the organization is not, will never let that happen.
Hopefully someday. I don't know about money wise, but I feel like he's probably getting paid in Asia.
Yeah. Right? Asia's so big, right?
So dude, like it's so awesome that like when you came over and like started living with Carlson and like you had no idea, and I've seen you for all these years since I met you, have been cornering guys in title fights and all these amazing fights. Man, it's so awesome.
I was gonna be there in the island this weekend, man, at the UFC 249 with my man Bilal Muhammad. So his opponent pulled out the fight week before the fight get canceled. So UFC start working on him and got in a new opponent. I was scary, but at the same time so excited. I'm like, dude, no one knows where's the freaking island. You know what I mean? Like, how are we gonna get there? Like who really gonna be able to go? He actually asked me for my address that UFC wants to send everyone a coronavirus test, so to everybody be clean to go. And I don't know, we didn't even know where we're gonna meet, to get in a private airplane and go to this supposed private island. Fights got canceled. Pretty sad, but at the same time, I was like kind of glad. I'm like, damn, if that's the right thing to do, man, we have just to follow the rules. I'm really like to follow up. Whatever it's the priority. You know what I mean? So I got back home. I was back to back. I went to New Zealand for Paul Felder's fights when he fought at that incredible battle against Dan Hooker. 90% of the people thought Paul won that fight. Unfortunately, we fought in some hometown boy. But not complain about it. It was a tough. The fight was pretty good. I think we gained so much respect from the New Zealand people. Man, Paul his followers just blew and dude after that fight. I was back to back for almost 5 weeks. And that time when I got the call that the coronavirus really blew, it was Saturday. Yeah. We in Connecticut for Bellator. When my man Manos is supposed to fight in that tournament, the featherweight tournament, his second fight, he won his first. Pitbull was in the same card. Who else was in the card, dude? It was like a lot of good fights on Bellator. And we did the whole fight week with this problem, like the fight's going to happen and that's going to happen. First, they took all the fans, no media. And then later, now we just can't allow 2 coaches because normally it's 3 coaches. Okay, we got 2 coaches. So we went downstairs at noon, get our wristbands, everything ready, go back, waiting. Like the report time was about like 7 o'clock. I had 3 guys actually fighting that night. And Manuel Sanchez, Jordan Newman, and Fabio Aguiar from Brazil, 3 important fights. And I was eating, and I got the text like, and Manuel's manager like, dude, go to the room and pack, and we're gonna get the fuck out of here right now. Fights are canceled. I was like, what? Dude, it was like a movie. Yeah, that was like 4 weeks ago. So I just like left my food on the table. Ronnie is like, I heard that the casino, what's the name of the casino?
It's probably the Mohegan Sun.
Yeah.
Mohegan or Foxwoods.
Exactly, the big one.
Yeah. And
like, I guess they have like one person with the symptoms, so everything was canceled, dude. Things just get crazy. And we kind of switch our flights, get back home a day early. and that's how how everything started. You know, I remember going to the gym one more day, and Duke's just like, man, you know, the town, you know, the government just told us to shut it down. So we got to close the doors and let's see what's going to happen. That's what we at right now. Do some, you know, live training on our private page. You know, we keeping support the people who supporting us right now. And it's been good, man. I'm honest with you. I was very scary. You know, never went through nothing like that in my life. And I see the support of people who still working, you know what I mean? Like some people lay off of work right now, like me, you know, but I still, you know, getting money for the gym and for the people who support us. So this been, you know, I'm very grateful. I can't complain about it.
It's definitely not all bad, man. I mean, there's a lot of positives that you can take out of this type of thing, right? And isn't that what jiu-jitsu has kind of taught us? Like when times are tough, it's you can survive and figure a way out of it.
Yep. I use that actually, man, in personal life, you know. Now is the time that we in trouble. Somebody got your back, you know, with the hooks in. Be patient. Wait for the right moment. You know, like
don't panic.
Exactly. If you panic, you go crazy. That's why the president in Brazil wants everybody to get out of the house and do things just so people don't get crazy and so depressed and start doing crazy shit. You know, I don't know. Weak people will commit suicide. You know, they think that, you know, it's the end of the world or something like that, and you know. But the positive side, man, that's what I was going to put that on Facebook another day. I said, can anybody tell me the one positive thing about this situation, and see what, you know, people will write in my comments, just to know, you know, how everybody feel right now. The people from our community, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty scary thing, man. I have a 5-year-old boy that I was like, man, is that is like the end, you know, it's gonna coming soon, and I'm not gonna see my son growing up, you know, like that, my little one, you know. I'm like, damn. But the positive side right now is being home, enjoying more of your family, you know, being healthy, and be able to do this, what we're doing right now, dude. Like, can you imagine if this coronavirus was like 10, 20 years ago?
With no internet, you know, no Netflix, no whatever.
Yeah. So we can say we're blessed, man. You know, like I think God make that happen to make people appreciate more, because if you look up in Brazil, it's already is people notice that it's less pollution right now.
Yeah.
The rivers, you know, from factories, from things. I know it's affecting the economy right now, affecting the other sides, but it's like it's something that it has to happen, man. So for a reason. So I'm just going with the flow, whatever happens. So we keep rocking, you know, try to do our best.
All over the world, I think you see less pollution, less.
It's more animals outside right now. It's like, dude, it's amazing. You know, it was crazy. You know, I was playing so many things. Like I got seminar cancels, fights, not being able to, you know, do things like, man, I just becoming for 11 years, I was fighting so hard, not fighting, but, you know, deal with the situation with my paperwork here, my green card with my family, you know, and they came through a week before the coronavirus. You know, so happy because, you know, if you don't have your papers, you know, and everything here in America, when you're an immigrant, it's like you're not going to be able to get any benefits if you need it. So I'm very thankful for life. It took me a while, you know, a long time. Some people just get here, get married, and get papers right away. To me, I brought my family with me, so it took me time and a lot of work and money too. So I really appreciate a lot what the country, Americans, have been doing for me.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, thanks.
So I also feel like, right, isn't when you go through hard times, right, it sucks, but it's also the time when you grow, right, and you come out the other side and everything is so much better.
I really believe in that. My son, my little one, come here, have fun.
Come in, man. Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good.
All right. How old are you?
How old are you?
5.
Say 5.
5.
Are you? Have you go to kindergarten sometimes or no?
He's going soon.
Yeah, next year maybe.
Yeah.
Nice.
You doing jiu-jitsu already?
No, I was doing my home.
Oh, homework right now.
I did do my homework already.
Yeah.
But I want you to say something.
Yeah, I need to talk to my friend here for a little more, and I will go talk to you, okay? Go,
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Love you. Yeah, man. And my little guy, he just changed my life, too. That's why I was like, damn, with this crazy situation, I was just like, man, my little one. But,
I mean, we got an 8-year-old daughter who, it's hard for kids of that age because they don't get to go play with their friends, and to get to see them.
And
but
as much you try to explain, they won't understand, like, why I cannot play with my friends? Oh, because you have a risk to get sick. No, but why?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we try.
So I feel, my wife is home with her, and so she's working and with the soap thing, and but also like has to like homeschool 8-year-old kid who's cooped up and ready to go.
How's the company now doing, man?
Good, man.
I think everybody should get in, buy the Tortuga soap right now. Wash your hands, get everything clean.
That's right. Clean your hands up, people.
Yeah.
No, it's doing very well, and she does a great job of making soap that's really good, but also like looks cool. It's like little works of art, man.
You guys doing a good job.
Send you some out, brother.
Yeah.
Next time you're in Connecticut for fights, you gotta hit me up, man. We'll hang out.
Yeah, it's like traveling so much. Sometimes I forget that I have friends in some areas. Like another day, a friend just hit me up. I'm like, man, you right by me and you're not gonna hit me up? I'm like, dude, I totally forgot.
It happens,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Right, you get busy. Yeah. Especially like now that there's fight cards, multiple fight cards every weekend.
Dude, last year from October to November, from September to November, I was in one point I was in six different fight weeks in six different countries. So nuts, like the jet lag hit me so hard, and I didn't know when it was night, morning, like crazy, man. Like, wake up, we gotta train now. I was like, whoa, what time's it, man? But
I mean, you are really blessed though, like to be in that position.
I am. I can't complain. It's just tough on the family.
For sure.
Work. Jiu-jitsu is my life. We have a huge jiu-jitsu program at Roufusport. Dude, like when I started over there, they had a few jiu-jitsu coaches before, a few, different guys. But I really brought the vibe, the good environment. I changed my mentality from old school to I just want to evolve with the sport. I have like all kind of people train with us. You know what I mean? Like from 4-year-old to 65-year-old is my 66, I believe, the oldest guy in the gym. I believe the gym, because I just do jiu-jitsu now. I don't own the gym, so I don't look for numbers that crazy. Of course, I do my best to keep the students and to sign new people all the time when they come in for first class. But I'm a salary guy, so I make the same money. But I know how important it is to treat people well, to make people comfortable, to make people happy. The most important, like not everybody go to jiu-jitsu is because they want to fight or they have to get ready for something or they have to be in good shape. So I figured that out, man, and Duke's been very happy with our program. We blow.
Most people come for other reasons, right? For like therapy or
yep. This is stress, like just to see people. Like to me, it's like I remember I have kids doing jiu-jitsu that they couldn't talk to the other kids, and later you see this kid just like interacting, communicating much better, and as the main benefits in jiu-jitsu is not physically, it's mentally, So when you figure that out and you do apply that in your life, and you're try to always leave the bad things outside. My problems when I walk to the gym, big smile. Treat everybody good and train hard. We train hard, but we don't train hard with people who is not preparing for that kind of training, So it's like you're going to see Anthony Pettis. He earned his black belt in a 5 p.m. class, what we call the fundamental class, like in front of like 30 white belts. He was the higher belt at the gym beside of me, like at that class. was him and another couple blue belts who just come in that class, and like he earned his black belt. He was brown. He like surprised in front of all the white belts, like, man, is it Anthony Pettis getting his black belt right now? You know, I kind of do this kind of surprise people, you know, like.
Yeah. But the people there will never forget that, ever.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Anthony was saying one time that he really likes to get back when he got back from fight. He don't start the camp right away with the fight team. He goes to jiu-jitsu class or kickboxing class, and he started playing with the regular students. Just have fun, because it's not fun when you just like focus on the business side. I gotta fight hard. I gotta, you know, when you come back, you need to find the happenings again and at the gym. Otherwise, you don't want to do that. You know, a guy like him who has been training since he was like 9-year-old, you know, in Taekwondo, maybe earlier than that. I don't remember when he started training. It's kind of burned sometimes, and you don't want to stay in that intensity. You know what I mean? He's fighting Cowboy right now. Do you see that?
No.
Dude, May 9th. It's supposed to be the first event, 1 month or less than a month right now. So
no
he's
kidding.
Supposed to, Conor Ferguson's fighting Gaethje. We don't know where the fight's at.
Right.
But I just got a call, and you know what I mean? Like, dude, the fight's on, and I'm like, we gotta get this little private training going.
Yeah, I mean, how's he gonna train? It's gonna be
we already started,
weird, right?
Just like private, you know what I mean? Like 3 people max, and you know, coaches. You know, like we don't know if the event's really gonna happen because this weekend they get canceled now. So we're supposed to have the big fights, but if you look at the fight card, they just announced today, actually. Oh, last night.
Yeah.
If you look up, it's a lot of big fights. Tony Ferguson still on the card. Gaethje's fighting him. Khabib's not gonna fight, and I think Ben Rockwell was fighting too. Jacare. It's a lot of good fights. I just looked at the card yesterday, but I don't remember everybody. But it's gonna be Cachorrão and Pettis too, because they already fought back in the days.
Yeah. Wow. So you got a month.
Yeah, less than a month.
Right.
So I'm excited to. If that happens, I don't know if the fight's going to be on the island. It's going to be somewhere, some like Indian reservation. I don't know, man. I'm just like, whatever. One thing I can guarantee is like they're not going to do anything crazy, stupid, and try to get people sick. They're going to be very well organized and well prepared to taking care of everybody's healthy. You know, that's, I believe you're super professional.
We were just talking to John Anik like a week ago or a couple weeks ago now, and at the time the Khabib fight, they were still trying to make it happen, and he was, you know, you hear about how, like, I mean, I forget if it was him that just said, like, if they did make that fight happen, they felt like they were going to be safer in that arena at that fight than anywhere else. Like the UFC is not playing games with that.
Yeah.
What they're doing.
Becoming a professional, look, I've been in fights from backyard fights into the UFC title fights, Bellator title fights, World Series of Fighting title fights. You know, I never seen an organization so well prepared like a UFC. They are very professional, man. They taking care of everybody, even the coaches. Like the coach, we're the guys, the last guys who supposed to taking care of, but they always super nice to us, man. The staff is awesome. I cannot complain. I'm not complaining on any other ones. It's just like it's different level, you know. It's like when you go into jiu-jitsu tournaments and you go into IBJJF Worlds. It's like it's different, you know. I can do any jiu-jitsu tournament, but I will never call myself a world champion if I don't win the worlds in IBJJF. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I mean, you go into like worlds, you said, you go to Pans or Worlds, and it's a different level for sure.
Different level for sure.
It's more professional, and not to say there's not good stuff in all the different tournaments that are coming out now and all that.
No, sometimes you see more exciting matches. You know, it's like I'm not, you know, trying to put anybody down, but you know, it's the league. Like, right. You know, like when you talk about basketball, NBA, you talk about, you know, like when you talk about MMA, you know, it's like UFC is the number one. Even people think like they, you know, I don't believe, like when I heard people saying that fight with the Cerrone and Mike Gregor was oh man, that was a joke, you know, like I think Cerrone got money to lose that fight. I saw some people saying that. I was like, bro, are you crazy? Right. You know how bad Cerrone wants to whoop that ass, bro? Like, you have no idea.
Out of all the people to accuse of throwing a fight, he is the last guy.
It's easy, brother, to blame when you never went through. I only fought 5 times, but I be in the corner. I been like I see my guys win championships. I seen guys get defeated in championship, losing their championship belts, and go straight to the hospital, or even winning fights. Like Paul Felder won 2 fights in a row, and he went to the hospital both fights with a very serious damage. You know what I mean? Like it's a crazy sport, man. You know, I really respect all those guys so much, and the people who don't understand, they just like try to blame people, criticize people, and instead of to be like, but at the end, they all get really hyped when the fights happen. You know, they can blame, criticize. I see Anthony on the way up, everybody loved him, and when he started losing, everybody hated him, and he started winning again, everybody loving him again. I'm like, look at this, 2 loss, man. You know, he felt so bad when he fought the Ferreira in the last one, and I said, bro, Ferreira is like a kid from Amazon, bro. He grew up playing with pythons and alligators. You know what I mean? He's doing jiu-jitsu since he was 5-year-old. So it's nothing to feel bad about it, lose to a guy like that. You know, it's like, oh, my jiu-jitsu, I'm your jiu-jitsu coach, my man, and I'm proud of you. It's like, you got tapped. This shit's going to happen. You know, he tapped Benson Henderson when he was blue belt. Benson never got submitted before. He tapped Gilbert Melendez, who never got submitted before. People talk about his fight against RDA, that he lost that fight. You know, he was the champ, and he got the champion mentality at that point, you know, when things coming up. But look at this. Dos Anjos just lost the fight to Michael Chiesa, right? Did you see what Anthony did with Michael Chiesa?
Right. It's not, it doesn't all add up.
The fights, like the fans are so crazy. Like when the Ronda Rousey lost, everybody tried to blame her in the second loss. Oh, because she's not the same. I'm like, guys, I remember months ago you like, you know, just love her, and now you're hating her. Like, come on, guys. It is what it is, you know. That's what the sport brings to the table. People want to see exciting, you know what I mean? People talking, the trash talking. I don't like that. I like to see good fights,
right?
You know, good finishes. So we're looking forward for this next one, and we got a lot of guys in the line too. They're just waiting. Sergio Perez just left UFC. I don't know if you saw his Bellator fight not too long ago. He got a great fight. People was telling me that he won the fight twice because he knocked the dude out that guillotined him. The referee.
I feel like there's so many fights that I'm like, I feel like I remember seeing it. You know what I mean?
That's what happened to me now. I know a lot about our fighters, but like the fight cards, I can't remember everybody like I used to because there's so many events.
So many
fighters too.
It's crazy.
It's good from one side. It's growing. Everybody can feel their family the way they like it. You know what I mean? Like I'm being very blessed to train people who fight in the higher level in UFC, or people who just join the UFC. Like we got some a kid. I think, you know, I call him kid. He's a man for sure, but you know, he's 24. I'm 40. So I see these young guys, and then they all look like a kid to me. Brandon Allen, man, he's a beast, bro. 2-0 in UFC. Like I seen this kid coming from, you know, like an LFA when he first joined us as another jiu-jitsu black belt under me. He was a brown belt already for a long time, and he joined us for I think 3 years ago, and he's been doing really good, man. Like amazing. Another point that I really like in my career as a coach is like see guys who start making nothing and they start doing okay, or stepping on a big show in the UFC, they start their career, you know what I mean? Or, you know, like a guy like Emmanuel Sanchez, he's in $1 million tournament right now. I remember him fight for $200, brother, you know. And we went to Israel when he fought Pitbull for the title. Unfortunately, we came short. It was a split decision, you know, but Pitbull couldn't come back home from Israel. He has to stay in the hospital. He won a fight, but he stayed there for 2 extra days. Emmanuel Sanchez is a beast. We're going to have a chance to rematch soon. You win the next fight, so he will rematch with the champ.
What are your goals now, man, and all this stuff? Like, what do you got for goals?
My goal now, man, is what I'm looking for right now is just go through this situation and make sure we get back to normal. That's the first thing with the gym. I know the fight's gonna happen actually before, because we don't need the fancy with all this technology now, with all this lives, or pay-per-view. So they're gonna start promote that early. But my goal is get back to a normal life, to be able to teach my regular people, the people who miss me, the people who message me. People just showing a lot of love for jiu-jitsu now. I see like a white belts, for example, a couples who, train together and go post a picture. I'm like, man, I really miss the gym with Professor Daniel, Roufusport, great environment. I can't wait to get back. That's what my goal number one now is, get back to normal, because my family is most important to me, but I'm with my family right now, like full time. My goals is just get back to the gym, start working again, and compete too, man. I can't wait to get back. My son, he had a competition. Pan Am's get canceled, remember?
Right.
It was in the same week. I was in Connecticut, and my son was going to take off to California to compete in Pan Am's, and everything get canceled, get crazy. I miss competing so much too, because it's something that keep me motivated, So when I can compete, when I'm healthy, I go and I do. Last year, I was able just to do 3 competitions, 1 super fight, at the Fight to Win. And I went to the first Israel Tel Aviv Open, IBJJF. I was so surprised and happy to see how the sport grows so much in Israel, man. It was big competition, a lot of good guys, a lot of good black belts out there. I was
How'd you end up there? How'd you end up doing that?
First time I went with Manny for the fight in Bellator when he fought for the title. And right after that, people saw us, and really like us. And 4 fighters from Israel came to Roufusport to train with us for 3 weeks. And they just become friends, and they really like me. And one guy just like, man, I'm going to make a connection to bring you there to do a seminar and to help us, because 2 of those guys, 3 actually, fought in Bellator in Israel the next event, and they brought me in. So I was there for 5 days, just training, teaching them at the academy out there, jiu-jitsu and MMA. And I set up. I was very coincidence to the first Israel. Tel Aviv is the city, the capital, I believe. Tel Aviv Open was happening the same weekend. So I asked the dude if I could sign up, Like, hey man, is that okay if it's Saturday I can compete in the tournament? And he like, yeah, of course. I was in a no-gi environment. They had gi and no-gi. I just did no-gi. And thank God I got double rolled out there. Fought some Brazilian guys. And look, I fought Brazilians in Israel. I fought the guy from Israel. And I fought the guy from Mexico in Israel. That's how how people fly. Like they make trips, long trips, just to go compete in the best tournaments, dude. That's how IBJJF is. Like, you pay to compete, yeah, but when you win those big tournaments, that people recognize you as a jiu-jitsu champion, So I'm pretty. I never won worlds. I got 3 silvers, 1 bronze at the no-gi worlds. Hit the bar multiple times, but I won tournaments that people who won the worlds never won. The Brazilian national. I'm 2 times Pan American no-gi champion. It's American national 3 times. It's some titles that I beat world champion, but I never won a world championship. Is that crazy?
Yeah, but man, you're living the dream. You know what I mean? Like,
look at this, right here, my coffee.
Like, I definitely, I miss training for sure. But like, the big thing that I started to miss the most right off the bat was like the community of jiu-jitsu, and so luckily I have this, and I can talk to people about jiu-jitsu, and it makes me feel better.
That's nice.
But that's the most, maybe the biggest part of my life, I guess, the community,
Yeah. It's just like, man, I have friends from different gyms, from different academies, that sometimes we have to face each other. But I think that's what jiu-jitsu brings to people, the environment is so different, Of course, that we have like we call in Brazil the pit bulls, the guys who try to use jiu-jitsu to, instigate fights and other stuff. But that's not what jiu-jitsu was taught to that person. It's just your personality. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing that with jiu-jitsu. It's like if you're a bad guy, man, you're gonna be a bad guy with jiu-jitsu or without jiu-jitsu. Like it doesn't matter. I think actually jiu-jitsu helps you. I have a very good experience in my life. And a couple years ago, every time I go back to Brazil, to my hometown, so I got invited to teach the special force, what they call the BOP. I don't know if you ever see the movie, the Elite Squad.
I've heard of those guys though. They're like Men
in Black, the guys who's just, man, those guys are amazing. Like every time I go out there to teach, I just know like all my knowledge is like nothing compared to what they do, man. Like they are real ones. They give their life for the community. You know what I mean? From people there, it's crazy. When I'm there, I just want to be one of those guys. I really want to join them so bad. But at the same time, I've been doing seminar for rehabilitation in the prison. That's that crazy.
Yeah.
So one of my good friends is just like, man, I never see any jiu-jitsu guy go into prison and do work for rehabilitation with the prisoners. And it's something in between the sport and the church, is a program. Because a lot of people commit crimes, but sometimes they really kind of like, they feel bad. They really want to be becoming a good person. Depends what kind of crime you commit. You able to join that program, and I was able to go to that prison twice, and just be able to speak with the guys and teach some moves, but not like a really fighting, but jiu-jitsu. Talk about the sport, how the sport saved lives. And I was able to do that in a prison, and I was able to do some similar, even more important, with the guys in that level of we call the elite squad. So the squad, those guys are well known by not wasting one bullet. If you shoot someone, you got to put that body down. It's crazy.
It was the prison in Recife?
Yeah, in my state, and not in my town, but in the state. Actually, one of the prisons is the one that most did the best. Actually, last year they was the best one at rehabilitation. You know what I mean? So they actually make like a article with me. I was inside there. They asked me questions. Like how can the sport benefit those guys? You know what I mean? And I really believe like sport changed lives. Especially jiu-jitsu, when you learn all this discipline. Because you walk in, it's very intimidating, right? You're gonna see the other prisoners out there, and it's like people can see you, can look at you, and it's crazy. The Brazilian prisons is really crazy, So be in the news, like guys fighting with knives and crazy shit, and like people with cell phones inside of the prison. But I had a great experience, and I was able to see that how the jiu-jitsu can actually motivate some of those guys to be a good person and try to make a difference. You know what I mean? So it was cool. I'm using jiu-jitsu on other sides right now. I'm not just teaching people how to fight, self-defense, or me competing. I'm trying to help people in their life through jiu-jitsu, using jiu-jitsu to help, along with, I'm really believing in God. So I think this is a good thing to do, So when you do something to help the others, you know what I mean? Like you make God happy.
you make yourself feel better. You make God happy. You make other people happy. Like it's just like if you can. This is something I've been thinking about a lot during the last few weeks, and if you can just do positive things, obviously it just grows out into this like web of. And I think that we all have a responsibility to use jiu-jitsu for good, right? Like, it's not just for fighting. It's not just for that. It's about, I just talked to a guy who's a purple belt. We just had him on the podcast a couple weeks ago. He's a purple belt from East St. Louis, Missouri. He goes to other countries and like helps him set up jiu-jitsu programs and does MMA and stuff like that. But he also like teaches them how to run businesses and grow stuff and like turns them into the self-sustaining thing. And he's done it in Africa. He's done it all over the world. It's amazing. It's super inspirational.
Yep. I really appreciate people like that because, you know, like you understand that jiu-jitsu is a business in Brazil. A lot of people don't think that way, you know, unfortunately. But I understand that when I would start doing and teaching, and I was never, you know, my life and my financial situation was always kind of like tight when I was young, and then I was like, try to figure it out. Like, nah, man, jiu-jitsu is awesome, but we have to do jiu-jitsu the right way. I call actually the American way, man, because, you know, it's business. We don't go just all about business, but it's business first. If you don't make that way, you can't leave the door. You know, you got to close the doors. You know, everybody wants to train, but like, especially your friends, they're all like, oh man, you have a gym, you know, can I just go there and train? Like, the real ones will support you. You know, like, you're a professional. That's what you do for a living. That's how you put the food on your table. So you have to, you know, really take it as in the business side, you know. But I learned that right away in America. You know, Carson taught me that too. His son Carson Jr. is the guy, because I don't train with Gutenberg consistent anymore. So my first, my second, and third degree and my black belt came from Carson. And also next month, April and June, I'm gonna become a 4th degree black belt. Nice. 14 years. I'm very, very happy. But you know, it's the same. If Carson give me my next degree, you know, it's like, you know, Gutenberg's the guy who gave me my black belt. A lot of people call me, oh, he's a Carson Gracie black belt. No, I'm a Gutenberg Mello, my jiu-jitsu black belt. I'm very proud of my coach, his lineage. Heard so many good things about him after I come to America from guys like Murilo Bustamante, Ricardo Liborio, the Deperneras, dude, all those big MMA guys, big MMA coach or former champions. They talk pretty good about my profession, and I'm so proud of them, you know, be proud of my lineage.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand that too. Like, all the big, or not all the big teams, but a ton of the big teams all came from Carlson.
Yep. I still, man, like, everywhere I go, I see someone that, you know, at least had a little connection, you know, with the Carson tree, or even the Gracie, you know, the Gracie in general. You know, I have good friends. For example, my friend Tusa from Jackson Wank, you know what I mean? It's John's, you know, like all the good fighters out there. But when we go California, Team Alpha Male, Fabio Prado, Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Carson Gracie lineage, and you go American Top Team, all those guys from Carson Gracie, you know, Pahupa, man, it's you go back in Brazil, Novo União, it's Andre Perneras, who is a black belt on the Carson. Man, what else? It's so many.
Marcelo Alonso, right? You must know Marcelo Alonso.
Exactly. Very good guy. Man, he's a great professor too. I had the opportunity to teach a seminar at his place. Nice. He invited me once. He's a friend of mine. And dude, I had a great time. But ended up me learning so much from him. I was there to teach the seminar, and then, you know, I learned so much from that guy. He's a great jiu-jitsu professor. I really like him.
I was super lucky to meet. I met him, hung out with him, went out to dinner, and I've never rolled with him. But like, man, I was like, I'm like, this is the nicest guy ever. And then I talked to a friend of mine who's like, he's like, man, he's the meanest dude around. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's super nice. He's like, do you roll with him? I said, no. He's like, oh, you don't want to roll with him.
Yeah, the old school guys, they you know, now those days I call the dirty jiu-jitsu. When I teach the moves, the little mean things, I say, hey guys, this is the dirty part of jiu-jitsu. Right. You know, I try to make a kind of sounds like fun, you know what I mean, funny things for people be happy learning, but I don't do that. I will explain the thing that I learned from Carson, that it's pretty like a brutal. And I said, look, I won't do that to my teammate, but if I'm in a tournament, so I would throw that at my opponent, just because, you know, it's different vibe, you know what I mean? Like, it's a war vibe. So you got to, unfortunately, all the good vibes that come in jiu-jitsu, but when you're competing, you have to fight, but never be dirty, like cheat on that fight, and be always respectful. Man, I become friends with the guys who defeat me. You know, I have no problem with that. And some guys that I defeat, they just don't want to deal with me, and it's kind of weird, you know. Like, I just think every time you step on a mat, you get better somehow. No matter what happened out there, you know, it's a guy that I beat 3 times, and this guy came to me once. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna compete again. You beat me 3 times. I look at him. I said, bro, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm the only guy who beat you 3 times. He's like, yeah. I said, okay. I had 3 guys who beat me 3 times. So if that's gonna make you quit, bro, like, don't quit. You never know. Maybe next time you can beat me.
Right? You gotta keep trying.
Actually give me very hard matches. All the matches I went 3 times, bro. 3 advantage. Like all 3 times by advantage points. He was tough. From Pedipano, you know Pedipano?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a tough dude. Not him, but one of his black belts. And he just does motivate, you know, like, man, I was so close, blah, blah, blah. I said, bro, let's go, man. I think it was right before Pan Ams once when he told me that. I said, no, bro, you're going to compete. Go, you know, don't fucking give up. Because if you give up, if you're afraid to lose, you're already a loser. You know, I competed at Worlds last year at the No-Gi Worlds. I swear to God, I was having my preparation. I did the Tel Aviv Open. It was right before. And I have a fight to win match. In between that was my second one, actually. I was so excited, and I hurt myself. And I hurt myself. I couldn't train for 4 weeks. And I quit the fight to win. You know, I got to pull out of the fight. And I was focused on the big goals as become the world champion in the no-gi. That's the title that I really wanted, and I'm going to get it one day. You know, but I hurt myself, and I couldn't compete. At the fight to win, I was pushing, just rest. 2 weeks before Worlds, I felt a little better, and I was like, man, I'm gonna train. I did probably 4 spar sessions, four sessions, and that's it. I went to Worlds, and I lost in the first match. And I look at me, I'm like, man, I was sad, but I look at myself, I'm like, dude, why am I fucking sad, man? I just came here to one of the best jiu-jitsu events in the world, and I had the opportunity to be here. How many people want to be here just to step on this place right here and be able to see all those good jiu-jitsu guys, and I was here competing, so that means a lot to me. You know, like I have a heart of champion, but I'm also so humble when I got defeated, and I think it's just like that happens for a reason. And you know, I didn't prepare myself, but I didn't go on Facebook and bitching around like, yeah, I lost because I didn't do this. And there's like a lot of people who be doing, but I just lost in my first match. On the next one, thank God for the opportunity. That's fine.
Because really, like, failure, you know, I feel like failure is a good thing if you treat it as a good thing, right? Like, it's just another stepping stone. Unless you, you know, it's like if you quit because of the failure, and then it really truly is failure.
How you take it, you know, the how you take that defeat, you know, the loss. And like I see, like that happened to fighters. Some fighters just lost a fight pretty bad, and of course, you know, in a fight you can get hurt really bad. It can be like you can feel in that pain, not in your body but in your heart, because you have the memories, you know, for those bad moments, and it makes you don't want to fight again sometimes, you know, even the tough as hell. But everybody has fear, you know. Hickson Gracie used to say, people think I'm not, you know, I have fear when I'm fighting, you know what I mean? I have like you know, the butterflies in my stomach. People don't know that. I just don't let my opponent and the people can see that on me, you know what I mean, and try to hide the emotions, you know what I mean. And then it was a cool video that I see from Hickson back in the days. I was like, man, he's so strong here. That's why nothing's gonna break you, you know what I mean. Back in the days, he used to go to the Carson Grace Academy to train people. Just the old school guys know about it, because he used to just smash everybody in every place he goes, you know. And there was one guy back in the days who give him a trouble, one of Carson's students. So Hickson will go there just to train with that guy, just to get better. You see the mentality? He could be running away from that guy because he didn't want that guy, maybe the other people who see the training session and talk like, oh, this guy beat Hickson today, whatever. He will go there and just make sure he wants to train with that guy, because that was the guy who could push him to make him better. So that's how I think, my mentality is all about that. I make the guys train with the better guys. Don't worry about it. Ego, it's hard. Yes, you don't want to tap. You don't want to lose it round, but that makes you win, man. I know a champions year, like Emmanuel Sanchez is one of those guys. You can come here and spar with him. You can beat him in sparring once. One round you win and you feel so good. You don't want to see him across the cage in the fight night. It's a different guy. When he knows the second check, because one check's guaranteed, right, to show money. When he knows the other guy wants to take the second check and wants to hurt him bad, like with the bad intention, because in the fight, they're going to try to knock each other out. He looks like, okay, now I'm not Emmanuel Sanchez anymore. I'm become the Matador. That's his nickname, El Matador. So,
well, because you see the opposite of that sometimes, right? You see some guys that like treat the gym as a competition and got to win in the gym.
We call the gym champions.
Gym
champions. They win in
champions.
the gym, but they can't win in a big fight.
Right? Because they don't get better. You don't get better that way, right?
In jiu-jitsu, this is very common. So many great jiu-jitsu, I don't want to call competitors because they just train for fun and they can do so good in class, but if they try to compete, they can't perform that way. It's something just mental. They can't, adrenaline, they can't control the adrenaline, something like that. That happened to me my blue belt career. I went to 4 competition. I was very good in the gym, and I lost 4 in a row. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, damn, everybody telling me at the gym I'm pretty good, and I'm not winning. But my first tournament, I was fresh blue belt, and I compete with the guy who was blue belt for 4 years.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference, when I started jiu-jitsu as age 21, so I got my blue belt. And I was facing the guys like who been trained since I was 16-year-olds. There was like yellow, orange, or like because that time the belt system was a little different. I believe when you're 16, you're still getting your yellow belt. And later they changed the rules. But I remember like the tough matches. You know what I mean? Like blue belt, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, damn. You know what? When I become the oldest with blue belt in the tournaments, that was pretty good because I remember I walk in the tournament and that time no computers, all the brackets was on the wall,
Right.
by a pen, and they look at me like, man, you still blue? Before I dressed to compete, and I'm like, yeah, like I was blue belt only for 2.5 years. But like when it was after 2 years, I was the tough blue belt. I was winning, and then I won a lot of tournaments. And everybody was complaining about me being a sandbag. I'm like, bro, I used to compete with the guys like with 4 years of blue belt. You know what I mean? Like guy, my first tournament, I'm telling you, this guy's name was Tornado, the nickname, and he just came back from Worlds in Brazil because back in the day the Worlds used to be in Brazil, and he took second place in the blue belt division. He won like, I believe it was 8 matches. He was a middleweight. He won 8 matches. And then the 9th match, the finals, he was beating the guy. He passed this dude's guard. He straight him out. And the dude Ezekiel him. So he was winning by point. And he passed out because, and the number 9, he fought 90 times to take second place. And that was my first blue belt tournament. This dude whooped my ass. I remember. He pulled guard, sweep me, mount me, and then fake a choke. When I tried to defend the choke, he armbarred me. I was like, man, But learning. I enjoy my time. That's where my son at right now. He's just turned 18, but he's been competing in adult division in a small tournaments, all those like grappling tournaments. He's been fighting like purple, brown belts and beating purple and brown belts. But when you go in the IBJJF Worlds, man, it's another kid like him that he always like second, first or third. He's always in the podium. But dude, those like 3 or 4 kids, they are amazing. Do you know the kid that most of the people don't want to fight him, the Galvão?
No.
Mikhail Galvão?
No.
The purple belt. He just fought with the black belt from Russia. And there's another kid who trained at his gym too. His name is Diogo Reis. Those kids in 2019, in 2018, actually Mikhail he won what they call the Grand Slam They both won the Grand Slam in Jiu-Jitsu. All the European, Pan Ams, Worlds, National, Brazilian National, and Pan American, something like that. You got the Grand Slam. So my son was the only one who scored points in one of those kids in the year. You know, and
those guys are from Atos?
Actually, they're not. They're from it's not the Rotula brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Rotulas are good, but those kids actually beat the Rotulas, dude. One of those kids, Mikael, yeah, he's really good. I have a picture of my son with Ty when they was like 8-year-old, man.
Nice.
Like Ty was 8, my son was 9 at the first Kids Pan American.
Dude,
IBJJF.
That generation, like your son's generation of those kids I mean, they're already so amazing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's crazy.
Look at the ADCC, what the Rotula did that, man. He beat like two. Yeah. He did beat 2 really tough black belts in the final match against who he fought in the finals. Was it Wagner Russia?
I think so. I think he did.
Wagner Russia, bro. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's like those kids on the black belt level. That's different.
It is, and they've been training. They're scary for sure. Like it's awesome to see what they're all going to do.
Yeah, the California lifestyle is different too. So most of the kids not even go to school. They just do homeschool to be trained and be able to do, you know, and then you go train 2-3 times a day. That's what the kids from Art of Jiu-Jitsu does, from the Mendes brothers, you know. Yeah. You know, the people from Atos, they go there, man, and like they come in the morning, come back in the afternoon, come back at night. Like they do 3 training sessions a day. That's why my son was kind of every big tournament, he was lose to one of those kids in the podium in the finals or semifinals. And that's when he asked me, like, Dad, now I think it's time to me start doing homeschool so I can train more. And I'm like, damn. But I allowed him to do that, and he got so much better. He got a lot more time to train. He's finished his school. This is the last semester for him. So pretty happy.
It's cool that he's doing MMA too, man, because he's getting like the whole thing.
He doesn't want to go to college. I had it, you know, I'm always dreaming about it. I didn't go to college, but I want him to do this through the sport. So I was pushing him for wrestling a little bit, and I realized, like, dude, I never pushed my son jiu-jitsu. Why am I going to push for wrestling? I just want to, like, because I can't afford. I was like, that was back in the days when I was doing that, push him in the wrestling. I was like, oh, I think he's doing good in wrestling. He can get it, you know, a scholarship or something like that through wrestling. But he just like, nah, that's not what I want. I want to be able to fight. He really likes Sergio Perez so much, and Memano, and both of those guys didn't do college, and those guys make money.
Yeah,
like Sergio just making a big move to UFC. They double his paycheck in Bellator, dude. Like a kid, very young, you know, he's already had his life situated. You know what I mean? Like probably make more money than any of the kids who went to college. So, you know, so my son really looked up for Sergio a lot, Manny, Anthony for sure. Those guys love to train with him, man. And Anthony was just asking, where's Gabe? You didn't bring him today? I said, nah, too many people. We got to keep that really small. Yeah.
It's such a great experience, and you know, like college ain't going anywhere. He can go back if he wants.
Yeah, he can go back if he decides to. The most important thing to me is make him happy. You know, if he just today decide to not fight anymore and he wants to be, for example, a firefighter or a cop or a lawyer, or I will support him the same way. You know, I will do my best to make things happen for him. But because he loves what we do, you know, since he was little, he decided to do it by himself. Like I say, dude, he was in Brazil, and he like, I want to join jiu-jitsu. And my wife's like, dude, should I sign him up? You know, to go to your gym is pretty far away, because where she used to live was kind of far away from my teacher. And I'll say, yeah, especially in the church, you know, like it's, we know like people there, instead of to say, os, they say Jesus. When they're going to bow you, they kind of mention Jesus, you know what I mean? It's pretty good. I had a great experience because the dude was a pastor, and I was trying to get the visa for my son, my wife, you know, and they got denied 4 times. It was a pretty tough time in my life. And when Gabriel was there, I went to Brazil to visit them, and then we tried their visa game. And the visa, a night before we have our appointment or interview, so we went to the gym to train. I taught a class for 80 kids, bro, in the jiu-jitsu program in the church. And it was amazing how they prayed before and after class. And that day, the coach just like, oh, we're going to pray here today for a big reason, tomorrow. Daniel, his family is going to have an interview, so let's be everybody in the same, vibe here. Let's pray for him. And the prayer was so strong, man, so strong. I remember him saying like, Daniel, I feeling that God already signed that your family's going to get approved tomorrow, man. I start crying like a baby, dude. Like, I got so emotional. And he was so, like when you 100% sure you're going to get something, you know what I mean? So he did that. And this guy is a great man because he doesn't charge for jiu-jitsu. He's just teaching the community, the poor community. And if you can give some little money to help to buy more mats, you can. But if you don't have, you can train. I remember my son used to pay $10 to train, because we will try to support. But the next day, brother, I went to the interview. We got our visas. I just remember I called him. I saw some of the kids who doesn't have a gi. Was pretty sad because their family couldn't afford. You know what I mean? So I kind of, it's just popped in my mind, and then I got 5 of the kids like brand new gis, and just try to help somehow. I couldn't do more than that. But at least like I got 5 of the kids who doesn't have a gi, they're happy as hell.
What's the guy's name?
His nickname is Tank. Do you remember the fighter Tank Abbott?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of looked like him. He's a bodybuilder as well. Very, very good guy. He's a black belt from De La Riva team right now. A good guy. I don't know if he's gonna ever watch that, but I'm so thankful that my son just had his first jiu-jitsu class with him. It wasn't with me. And he was able to, he will call all the kids his son. Hey, son. And, he's that kind of guy. Like if the mom come to jiu-jitsu program and talk to him that the kids was doing bad, or some of the kids actually, the teenagers kind of like disappear a little bit, get involved with the drugs. So this dude would go in the favela and get the kid, whatever the kid was, dude. He was like, he's the man, good friend. Tanky. His gym actually called the Tanky Gym, Tanky Team in Recife, Brazil, from De La Riva.
Nice. What's the big thing, the greatest thing jiu-jitsu has given you, man, in your life? What's it done for you? How's it changed your life?
Actually saved my life because, like I say, I didn't go to college. My sister did. And it was all like I only have one sister. My dad got divorced from my mom when I was 1. And my mom always got to work and to pay for our schools. And I kind of grew up in a hometown that the lifestyle was like California, you know what I mean? Beach, surf. The public school is pretty bad if you don't have money to pay a private school. So, it's just a different environment. So you don't want to put your kids in the public school in Brazil. Unfortunately, it's being sad to say that here. But, you can just go and walk out of the room, the classroom whenever you want. It's like the teacher's not going to complain much because they don't want to get in problem with some kids like who, not behavior, you know what I mean? Like kids who they're bad because they don't have the opportunity, so everything's around them is just fucked up. So they just grow up that way. It's kind of bad. And I think jiu-jitsu just saved my life because at one point I was 19 when I became a father. I have a son. He's 20-year-old in Brazil. His name is Daniel as well. Very tough kid too. Purple belt under ZR team. The ZR.
Yeah.
One of the guy who makes most world champs in Gracie Ball history. So he got his own team right now. Zé Radiola, very good professor too from my hometown. And I was like kind of, I have to work to taking care of my kid, but I wasn't prepared for that, And I started jiu-jitsu as an age as 21, 2 years later. and jiu-jitsu just start helping me to become the better person, because that was actually the goal of my teacher Gutenberg. He would teach you hard how to fight, but he wanted to see you being a good person, a good man, honest with how can I say, what I mean? Like people just thinking about money, and I don't know if that was good for Gutenberg, because now he doesn't have the financial situation that he should have because of that. So he was open and teach people for free, and I'm one of those kids too. I start jiu-jitsu. I remember I paid for the first 3 months, and I lost my job, and he just like, man, you dedicate yourself so much, just keep coming. When you find another job, you start paying again. And he just asked me to clean the mats and clean the bathroom every time before class. And I was doing that for, like 3 months. And it was fine to me. So I'm very grateful for that. He taught me a lot, so when jiu-jitsu came into my life, I remember my family, my mom, like, nah, this is not good for you. It's not good for you. Now those days, like, jiu-jitsu actually helped her as well, because, whatever, I feed my family and I help my family through jiu-jitsu. So my mom is very thankful now. Like, she loves jiu-jitsu now.
Where does she live?
Especially when she saw me in, pretty spots on TV. People think it's a little different too. When people see you on TV behind the scenes, they think like probably you're making so much money, being there. But it's not like that. It's a few people make money. We're doing well, but it's like people just like, oh my God, you being on TV. Like, it's not everybody being TV makes that much money. It's not a movie. It's not a series. It's just a fight, and we're behind. You can see one thing if you ever look at Roufusport coaches and fights. When our fighter win, we never go behind the fighter to show off on the camera. I think that's the fighter moment. So it's all about that person. When we do fight camps for one guy, when we in the fight week for that guy, it's what matters for that week is that fighter, that person. Is everything is for him. I'm so just glad to be part of their journey, So I take my selfie later on the other side, but most of the coaches go behind the fighter. They hold their hand, they lift their hands, they jump like a monkey in a cage. I'm not judging. It's just like, that's not me. Mm-hmm. I don't need to show off that way. After that, when people, interview them and they talk about us, that's cool. We know our work is being recognized by the fighters and by the fans sometimes. As I see fans like, hey, man, they don't even know my name. Like, hey, dude, you coach Sergio Pettis, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, good. But they don't even know my name sometimes, but they see me around, like, and recognize it. This is pretty cool. Or someone just call me right away. Hey, Coach Daniel, by the way, you're doing a good job, in Milwaukee. So we're big fans. I have fans from all over the world, thank God. It's more the fighters fans that become my fans too, because I'm part of the journey. But I just feel important and it is an important spot to be helping guys on that level to win fights and be able to still train with them, because I train with my guys.
Dude, what you guys are doing is obviously something right, because you have a ton of success with a lot of different people.
Yep. I remember, I think 7 years ago when I first started, I'm being a black belt for 14 years, but, never get one of my students go all the way up to a black belt, because I was teaching at Gutenberg's Academy. I moved to Chicago and I was teaching at the Carson Grace Academy. I was part of everybody's journey, but I can't call myself I'm your professor. And when I went to Roufusport, I become the head coach out there. I am the guy, actually, the only guy who do promotions. Now I have 8 black belts, and all the black belts who train under me, they're very, very respectful. And some of those guys have the gym on the side, like Anthony. But when he do belt promotion, he called me in to come in and do the belt promotion with them. I really appreciate that. There's a lot of respect. They know they don't need me. That when they become a black belt, they can promote anyone to the brown belt. And only if you have 2nd degree on your black belt, you're allowed to promote another black belt. But I just see the respect, dude. Emmanuel Sanchez is my assistant coach. Actually, he's the head coach for the kids. He used to teach with me when he was purple, brown, And we decided to make another class at 5 p.m. that I call the fundamental class. And we have like 30, 40 kids with Manny and another 30 adults with me at the same time now. It's like things change. And my son become his assistant now. So Gabriel teach the kids along with Manny. And now I have another assistant coach who is a UFC fighter, Jordan Griffin. He's doing pretty good. His last fight was not too long ago, actually in Virginia. Him and Brandon Allen won at the same night. And Jordan Griffin had the crazy guillotine. Then he won the 50,000 bonus. Dude, he was losing the fight. And he pulled the guillotine dude was in side control. And he beat the dude from the bottom when the dude had a side control on him. I was like, only that guy can do that kind of things. Like, I make a lot of fun of him because he been winning fights like that. He was like getting his ass whooped and he pulled a lot of submission out of nowhere. Like crazy submission that people never see. Like there's some choke that he called the psycho choke because his nickname's the native is Psycho. He's American native. And dude, I'm just happy. He look at me, dude. He's a grow up man, like crying, look at me like, thank you, coach. I need that so bad. And I'm like, jiu-jitsu save lives, man. And like, I like when my guys win no matter what. I don't care if they win by submission. I play with the team, when they knock people out. Actually, I'm so happy that even the striking coach, our master, we call him the general. He's the general of our team. He's the main coach, the head coach. He's the owner. He's my student in jiu-jitsu too. I respect him so much. He just told me at the Fowler's fight, like the fight didn't go to the ground till the last minute on the 5th round. And I was able to coach when it was needed, just striking wise and help him to repeat. And he's like, man, you got so much better as a coach. Tonight, I take my hats off you. You're not a jiu-jitsu coach. You're an MMA coach. Every aspect of wrestling, striking, when you got to kick, when they got to throw the elbow. I just spent so much time with them, so it become more natural to me. Like to see things and like I call like sometimes head kicks when I see the guys lean back, try to pull off a punch, and that's when the fighter can throw the head kick, what we call the rainbow kick. And I've been called that before the striking coach. They look at me like, whoa, how do you know that? I said, man, I saw the head pulling back. So, I see you teaching that every time, over and over. So I try to follow up and see if I can get more light here. There we go. Learning, man. To me, it's like when you think you know a lot, you don't know shit.
Right.
You realize that's like it's the learning process never stops. I have my mind open. I learn from wrestlers. I learn from lower ranks. I learn from strikers. I learn from, sometimes I'm not going to use it, but I'm still like paying attention, try to see, because to me, I'm a student of the game. So if I don't study in the fights, how can I create a strategy for my students to win the fights? You know what I mean? Most of the fighters, they don't like to do strategies. They just like to go and fight. We taking care of that part. We go watch the fights back home, and then we go make game plans, and we go, me and Duke is always on the same page. So that way it works very well. He has something that I need for MMA team, and I have something that he needs. So striking, jiu-jitsu, wrestling is so important, but I don't think this is more important in striking than jiu-jitsu. Of course, we have a great wrestling out there. But just say it's 2 ways to finish a fight, right?
Submission,
2 ways.
Submission and knockout.
Thank you. To finish, it's not to win a fight. You can win a fight, get takedown. I'm a big fan of win. Sometimes we're gonna win, taking people down, holding them down, and it's just it is what it is. Win 2 checks is better than get a great fight and lose.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm believing in the striking and jiu-jitsu is the only 2 ways to finish a fight.
Is Duke Rufus still training jiu-jitsu with you?
Yeah.
Nice.
He doesn't train as much as he wants because he's so busy. He's a hard worker, dude. He hold meets, pads for the fighters, all the time, every day. Especially sometimes we got 3, 4, 5 guys preparing for in a fight camp, and we got to do back-to-back, it's crazy. We have another coaches too, we have a good staff of coaches, but the main coach is him for sure. the striking coach, and probably the second one is me. So that's who the guys who really lead the pro practice. So he does the Monday, Wednesday striking. I go Tuesday and Thursday jiu-jitsu, grappling for MMA, and then Friday we have our wrestling for MMA, which is like we have a really good wrestlers, running practice. Rafian Stotts. I don't know if you ever heard about Rafian. He's a Bellator fighter, amazing MMA fighter. He's a 13-1 as a pro. This kid is the man, brown belt under me. He's been winning jiu-jitsu tournaments too. I'm so proud of him. And Saturday is the fun day. Saturday can do gi, open mat. We have a fun Muay Thai sparring. The good thing about Roufusport, we have everything in one place.
Right.
Most of our fighters come from different cities, different states. The only local fighters here is Anthony and Sergio. Everybody else come from different towns, different states. It's crazy, but it's nice. Like a guy like a Paul Felder, he comes here for 8 weeks, sometimes 9 weeks, and he just like it is a part of the team. I think Paul. I've been working with Paul for 7 fights already. So it just become part of the family. So when he's here, like, dude, he just embraced the process with us and be one of us, don't try to do his things, he even do an amazing job with commentator when becoming a fight game, dude. That's what he loves. Like, he's a real fighter. I like that dude. He trained jiu-jitsu under Daniel Gracie. You know Daniel Gracie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A good friend, too. But when he comes here to Roufusport, so I'm the guy who'll be with him for the whole camp. So he takes me to corner him because, he just so used to and he trusts in the process. And I'm the guy who just being that daily, every day with him, so it works pretty well. I can't wait for the comeback too, man. That guy's he's a tough dude and easy to work with. When the coach connecting with the fighters, it's so easy to work. So if you tell Paul to do like 100 miles, he will do it. He fought 5 rounds, and that was crazy the way he trains, man. Like the gym just turned in Thailand. It was crazy. I never see the gym that, like, man, we would train so hard. Everybody was like exhausted training, strength and condition, striking, jiu-jitsu, like every day. And some of those guys don't even stop on Sunday, man. They keep going. Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm happy. I'm just like sad now that everybody home, like everybody's doing workouts, you know what I mean? But like it's nothing like, train with the team and be able to, to share the match with your teammates. The environment's a little different, but we'll be back.
We will be back, man. We'll be better, and it's going to be so great. Like, think of how great it's going to be when we do get back, like to regular, classes and everything.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to come back actually even more excited. You know what I mean? To
Definitely.
have this, just appreciate more time, I mean, like, I don't know how it's going to be like in jiu-jitsu, I can actually make a joke about like we totally against a social distance.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about to create a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, jiu-jitsu, like when somebody try to make a grip on you and you push it away, it's like, hey, get out of here. We did social distance.
Trying to do social distancing.
Affected the business, the small academies, the small jiu-jitsu gyms, man. I don't know, like I have friends who call me every day and ask me how Roufusport is doing and how many people cancel. I'm like, we have managed. We're not a really big company, but we kind of big for MMA and martial arts. I think we have over 500 members. And, it's just like, I don't deal with this part, I just get there, I teach my things. So walk into the gym and just teach. I teach I think I teach 20 hours a week. So it's like, for jiu-jitsu, 20 hours, not a lot of hours for a regular job, but for jiu-jitsu, It is a lot of hours. I say that's like a regular classes. Plus, if you have private lessons and others, side things that you do in jiu-jitsu, like it gets you really busy.
No, it's gonna hurt. I think it's gonna hurt a lot of gyms for sure, but if you can make it through it, you're going to be better for it. I hope after.
Yeah, I think most of the people are very positive, with being an environment with so many people. So we have people who works in the healthcare. They're very positive. It's kind of sad to see sometimes when they don't have equipment. You know what I mean? Like, but I believe I just posted it, man. I respect them so much too. Like I posted it, I saw a cool picture, like somebody draw like a coronavirus, try to get close to a nurse, and the nurse just give a middle finger. Like, it was kind of funny one, and but it's just like like that the nurse now, the firefighters, the cops actually, like the healthcare people, professionals. So they are the real heroes right now. Like being put their lives on the line and risk for us, for all of us.
Big time.
So I really appreciate that.
Big time. Me too. Man, I really appreciate you being on the show, man. I'm so happy to see you like being successful. Like we had a good time in Oklahoma City. I remember we all went out to like Dave and Buster's or whatever and watched the or fighting.
That's a good time, man. I appreciate it, man. Very, very happy. Thanks for inviting me again. I'll be very happy to come back anytime soon when you have another opportunity. It was good to see you here. I see your stuff on Instagram. Still rocking your brain. Another day I was here doing a live. I had your hoodie in here. Thank you so much for all the support. You guys been doing such a good job too for the jiu-jitsu community. You know what I mean? Special now. With all this thing, like about hygiene, that we have been talking, about it for so long, how you clean your mats, how you deal with the situations about hygiene, you know what I mean? How you clean your gym, and now people's gonna really believe, because I was one of that guy, man. I spray and mop the mat twice a day, and I used to have the bucket, the carpet bucket with the solution in for we call the foot or the feet clean station. Something like that you just wipe your feet, you know what I mean? And then you get in there and clean. So I'm really totally I support 100%, man, the hygiene. I don't like to see people with dirty geese. Unfortunately, if I see that, they're gonna get caught. Like, nice, you know what I mean, in a good way, because it's just like, man, look at this crazy thing right now. Can you imagine if everybody just, comes straight from work and don't wash their hands, don't work, you know what I mean? Like it's like you being all day outside, you eat outside. Sometimes you don't even brush your teeth, you don't wash your hands, and like, So now, guys, when you're thinking about wash your hands, don't forget about the Tortuga soap. That's been in business for a long time. And, it's like, that's the time to support the people that being support you too. You know what I mean? Small business, especially your business now, could be making a difference, you know what I mean, to everybody to stay healthy and clean, I do appreciate your support.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you, my friend. Let's do this again long before 3 years this time again.
For sure.
Jay will be upset. Jay will be upset that he missed you, so we'll have to do it again with him.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Can't wait. Okay, hit me up.
Best wishes to your family and all your fighters and you, brother.
Thank you, too, man. I hope you and all your family as well, and can't wait to get back to normal. And, of course, I believe next time when we get here again, we're going to talk pretty good. We're actually going to talk how we went over this situation with the coronavirus, and we're going to beat, man. I'm very positive. It's like using jiu-jitsu right now. I just think, like, start the match, your opponent just scoring you, and now it's time to be patient, try to score, get that back, and then at the end, get the nice W. All right.
Awesome, man. Thank you, brother. Have a great night. Peace.
Peace.